The Scream franchise is best known for commenting on other horror films, sometimes even itself. Scream 1996 was a commentary on the death of slasher films and inadvertently brought them back. Scream 2 harped on the higher body counts of sequels. Scream 3 got into the higher stakes of a trilogy. Scream 4 perfectly played out remake tropes, while Scream 2022 went after requels and elevated horror. Most recently, Scream 6 was franchise commentary, kinda doing a little bit of a self-reflection. So with Scream 7 coming out next year, what will this movie comment on? Today's theories might answer that question. Well, let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Last Friday, during our weekly Scream stream, someone popped in who had a really good theory about Scream 7, honestly one of the best ones I've heard so far. Let's roll that clip. David Coca, what's up David, how you doing? I hope this movie addresses prequels in horror because it hasn't been commented on yet in the franchise. They talked sequels, trilogies, requels, franchises, but never prequels. You know, if they do this Maureen Prescott thing for the opening scene, which is a big theory flying around right now, you know, Maureen Prescott getting killed in the opening. Couldn't the whole thing be prequel commentary? David, that's a really excellent point, my friend. I might steal that for a video if you don't mind. And yes, I am stealing it a little bit for today's video because, wow, that's one of the best theories I've heard so far. Stay tuned for another theory in the back half of this video today, though, folks. Today's a twofer. Prequel commentary works surprisingly well with Scream 7, not because the film is going to be a prequel itself, but because it may be dealing with flashbacks. One of the latest updates for Scream 7 was that Scott Foley and Matthew Lillard were confirmed to return to the franchise. While I know some of the Stu Truthers still believe the guy's alive, I think that they're utilizing him to show us a flashback to Maureen Prescott's murder. We learned in Scream 3 that Scott Foley's Roman Bridger had been the mastermind behind the previous Ghostface killings, specifically setting up Billy Loomis to be a killer. He showed the kid pictures of his father having an affair with Sydney's mother, Maureen Prescott. That led him and his good buddy Stu to start killing a bunch of his friends in the 1996 flick. With Scott Foley being announced to be returning to the Scream franchise alongside Matthew Lillard, it makes me think we'll finally see the two on screen together, as well as Lynn McCree, the actress behind Maureen Prescott, and Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis. Now, we've already gone over the why in a bunch of different videos on this page. What I mean by that is why they would show us that here in Scream 7, and maybe not in something like Scream 2, Scream 3, where it's a little more relevant. If you want to hear me talk a bit more about that, check out this video up here. Today, however, I want to talk about how this could be setting up prequel commentary in the franchise, and might even show us this kill from a different character's perspective. Scream could simultaneously poke fun at the common issues with prequels while also dipping into that territory themselves. Prequels, by definition, have the problem of being a little too predictable. They often end right where the original movie starts without adding much to the actual conversation. And sometimes they're really only made to continue a franchise when a sequel is impossible. A good example of a great horror prequel is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. I don't care if the critics give it a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie freaking rocks. While a sequel comic does exist, a movie sequel would be challenging, considering Thomas Hewitt, aka Leatherface, lost an arm in the third act of that film. I hear it's really tough to perform a chainsaw massacre with only one of these bad boys. The film mainly focuses on building up its antagonistic family, the Hewitts, before the events of the 2003 remake, and how they assumed different roles in their terrifying operation. I especially love Charlie Hewitt's backstory, played by the undeniable R. Lee Ermey, rest in peace, showing us how he took on the role of Sheriff Hoyt. If Scream goes down the prequel route, they should do something similar. Maybe give us a better understanding as to why Stu went along with Billy's plan. When asked by Sidney Prescott in the original Scream what his motive was, all Stu could offer up was a deflection of humor.
Police are on their way. What are you gonna tell them?
Peer pressure.
Now, the dude is literally bleeding to death in this scene, so maybe he's just done at this point, but I think there could be a deeper meaning to this response. Stu Macher is a misogynistic rich kid who says and does whatever he pleases. His girlfriend Tatum even gives him some flack for his big mouth multiple times. I think if they were to show us Maureen's murder from Stu's perspective, we might be able to learn a lot more about the guy. Maybe he didn't want to get involved with all of this initially, but his best friend Bubble Butt Billy made him do it. Maybe the guy just never had the cojones to speak up for himself, a fatal flaw. And maybe, just maybe, someone who is still out there knows about Stu Stu's secret and wants to seek revenge for the dude who got his head smashed by a TV back in 1996. Another theory that's popped up recently, though, from a very kind gentleman, might I say, named Michael Kelsey. Michael left an excellent counterpoint on one of my most recent videos, saying that he loves my take on horror but disagreed with my assessment. Now, we're gonna get into Michael's thoughts in just a second here, but can I say I just love this comment? I don't do all of this just so I have a bunch of people that agree with me. That would be super boring and something called an echo chamber. I do all of this so that we can have that conversation, so we can talk about how Scream 7 can be the best it can possibly be. That's why I'm so critical on this series. It's because I love it so damn much. Not to skew too far off here into a total side tangent, but some of you guys have been accusing me of not even being a Scream fan because I've been critical of a lot of Scream 7's updates. Truth be told, I love Scream. It is one of the most intricate and thought-out slasher franchises in the game that has ever existed. With that being said, you can't tell me that making a new continuation in this series is an easy task. There are so many things about that original 1996 film that are just so perfect, and in my opinion, all of the sequels have fumbled at least one of the vital elements that makes that original so golden. Some of those elements might include a thought-out murder mystery, a shocking Ghostface reveal, horror commentary, strong characters, tension-fueled chase scenes, over-the-top kills, and there might even be something else that you can think of that you want to see in Scream 7. Considering all of those crucial elements to making a great Scream film, how could the entire fan base be happy about all of the updates we've received for this film? There are beloved characters who aren't showing up for this entry because of some BS behind-the-scenes drama, which resulted in massive production delays and an entire overhaul of the Scream 7 script. The original director of this film, Christopher Landon, dropped out of the project because of the ongoing drama, and threats made to him and his family from this fan base. Joel McHale has been cast as Sidney Prescott's husband, even though he's best known for his womenizing and demeaning characters like Jeff Winger on Community. And on top of all of that, there have simply been some updates that go against the basic structure of what makes Scream Scream. You might not agree with me, which is totally fine. Don't let my little criticisms here kill your excitement for this upcoming Ghostface massacre. But if you think that the guy who's been posting passionate updates for his favorite slasher franchise for the past 5 years doesn't even like this series, that's capital C crazy. All I'm saying is some of y'all are starting to sound like Richie Kirsch out here gatekeeping this franchise. Okay, rant over. Let's get to Michael's awesome comment here. Michael essentially pitched the idea of Scream 7 being a retcon sequel. That's when a new franchise continuation ignores any or all of the sequels to tell a fresh story, only tying back to the original film. The best example of this is probably Halloween 2018. Prior to that 2018 film, there were 10 Halloween films total, 6 sequels to the 1978 original, some even in different timelines than others, 2 movies that form a remake timeline, and of course a standalone movie about evil masks powered by Stonehenge. Season of the Witch is so good, even if it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. God, I love that film. Trying to connect all of those movies together or asking a general audience to rewatch 10 movies before a new entry just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Halloween 2018's approach proved to be popular because now new creatives could focus on their favorite elements to the series in their own fresh stories. This is something that many franchises have done since, including the Scream franchise. But is there still something left to say in those regards? With many fans longing for their favorite dead characters to come back into this series, many theories have been posed suggesting Scream should retcon its sequels and start a new timeline. That way, bringing back fan favorite characters isn't a logistical nightmare. Personally, I think there is still more for Scream to comment on regarding retcon sequels, but I think that this series might do it in its own unique way, just like how we were talking about with the prequel theory. Scream 7 might find a way to give more background on characters like Stu Macher and Roman Bridger through flashbacks, showing how their previous actions still have momentum in the modern day. It would be perfect commentary on how requels, especially like Halloween 2018, pick up a story that hasn't had any motion since 1978, 40 years prior. Like, why did Michael wait 40 years to start causing chaos again? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that criticism of Halloween 2018. I think the filmmakers found a really unique and subtle way to answer that question in the film, but there's no denying that some folks critiqued the film at the time, saying something similar to that. Now, could our Ghostface's motive this time around have something to do with that commentary angle? Let's say, for the sake of this theory, that under the mask this time around was Leslie Macher, Stu's sister, who we only just learned about in Scream 2022. Could that effectively work to bolster more requel commentary into this franchise? Talk about things that maybe Scream 2022 didn't really get into. As I like to say a lot in these videos, knows, it all comes down to execution at the end of the day. Hey everybody, before I wrap up today's video, I want to do a new challenge where I do 1 push-up per 100 views I got on my previous video. With how busy I've become with YouTube, I just don't have time to go to the gym anymore, and I need to find creative ways to keep working out. So last Saturday's Scream 7 update got 6,300 views, so I'm doing 63 push-ups today. Share this video around so it gets more views, so then in turn I have to do more push-ups next time. That was 20. 43 more. I'm so out of shape. I definitely didn't struggle. Easiest 63 push-ups I've ever done in my life. The light's just red in here. That's why my face looks like this. Please like this video and subscribe. We're almost at 30,000 subscribers. Please don't watch this video and share it. Actually, I don't want to have to do that again. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. It's so hard to raise my arms.